Whew. Right. What's going on, everybody? It's your good old boy JR coming to you live from Las Vegas, Nevada. As always, it is our final single pit stop. Today is the day. Pick number 31. As always, Brandon is here. He has joined me in every single episode through this beautiful journey, through this wonderful journey called the 2023 NFL mock draft. We have one more on Sunday, and it's our super show, and it's going to be exciting. It's going to be exciting time. I cannot wait, Brandon. Before anything, thank you so much for doing this with me all over again. I know it's a long and grueling process, but it's fun. The end results are fun. So, Brandon, thank you so much, man, for doing this with me, man.
I appreciate you for having me do this with you, man. Real.
All right. Well, we got one more, and then we take a break. We get to enjoy our Saturday with if you want to call it a fight. If you want to call it a fight, I guess. I don't know. After that face off, I'm willing to put my whole life savings on a tank. But anyway, yeah, anyway. Look, today's the day. It's about the Kansas City Chiefs. They are the Super Bowl champions. Their second Super Bowl in 4 seasons. And that is quite an accomplishment. That is quite an accomplishment. And it goes without saying, you know, you wouldn't have find a better offense last year than the Kansas City Chiefs because they were. Statistically, they were the best offense in the team in the whole league. Number one. Number one. The best. Now, defense, on the other hand, 16. But when you have that great of an offense and you have a middle of the pack defense, you can make up for it. You can kind of make up for it. Now, it kind of works, it kind of doesn't. Both, theories have been tested before and it's backfired and it's helped them. But they did it. They did it again. Second Super Bowl in 4 years. And I'd be amiss if I did not say, for anybody that had any doubts about Andy Reid being one of the best ever, the whole, well, the one he got was a magical run. You can't do it again. He's got a second one without a true number one wide receiver. So greatest. That's other than Andy Reid is one of the best coaches to have ever graced a football field. So we can cut the crap. How did he do it? How did he do it again? He looked at him crazy when he traded away Tyreek Hill. We looked at him crazy when he did his moves, but now we're gonna see how much some of it was Eric Bieniemy and how much of it was Andy Reid. Me personally, I'm kind of saddened by the fact that those two had to go their separate ways. I really am, because I think Eric Bieniemy and Andy Reid just worked perfectly well together. But sometimes business is business, and I'm sure Andy knows that, and I'm sure Andy was very supportive of Eric Bieniemy getting a true shot. Because I think even he knew that maybe the reason he wasn't getting his head coaching opportunity was because he was under the shadows of Andy Reid. As stupid as that sounds, maybe he did feel that way. And I am kind of saddened that they both are gone. He's not gone, but instead to go their own separate ways. It almost feels like Mike Ditka and Buddy Ryan. They can say what they want, that they hated each other, but put it like this:
Okay, I'm about to say
Mike Ditka never won another Super Bowl without Buddy Ryan, and Buddy Ryan never won another Super Bowl without Mike Ditka.
True.
There it is. Sometimes it happens, Same thing with Jerry Jones and Jimmy Johnson. Those two were beautiful together. Put it like this: Jimmy Johnson never won another Super Bowl, and Jerry Jones is still looking for that Super Bowl.
Yeah, true.
it hurts. Sometimes, we don't think like the NFL of relationships, but this is one of those times where it does hurt me to know that he's gone. Now, I know probably Matt Nagy is probably going to do a fine job as an offensive coordinator and everything. He's probably going to do a fine job because that's what he was before he took the head coaching position. So I'm sure he's going to be fine. It is sad to see that both had to go their own ways. And we're going to see how it works out. We're going to see how it works out because if Washington has a great year next year and their offense is amazing, well, can't use he's hiding under the shadows of Ron Rivera. I'll tell you that. And no disrespect to Ron Rivera, but
No, all the disrespect to Ron Rivera. All the disrespect.
But let's recap of how they got here and where they're at now. So Kansas City finished 14-3. Number 1 in the AFC, win the division, win the conference, winning the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
And when you have a quarterback like a Patrick Mahomes, your chances of winning the Super Bowl are going to be pretty good. 5,200 passing yards, 41 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. Now, the interceptions this year, a little scary for me, a little too scary because he's not one to kind of cause the turnover. A little scary for me this year. I was a little worried because I'm like, hey, man, there was just some games where I was just like, what were you thinking, man? What were you thinking right there? Like, what were you trying to? I know you got the strong arm, but sometimes you can't thread all the fucking needles. You can't thread all the needles. But he found his groove. And at the end of it, won an MVP. Kudos. Second one. Now, I know we talked about this last night. Brandon, you know about this. Had Jalen Hurts played every game, had a couple more rushing touchdowns. Maybe if he would have rushed for 1,000 yards and maybe passed for 4,000, which he was on pace to do, I'm going to be honest with you. No doubt in my mind, 4,000 passing yards, 1,000 rushing yards, double-digit touchdowns on rushing and throwing. The only thing he was missing was throwing to him fucking self, and he probably still would have done double digits, But I get it. I get the voters were voting.
Let's not act like he could do a Marcus Mariota. He could throw it to himself, catch it, and then get in the end zone. You never know. Shit happens.
He can. And I think what really elevated this Kansas City Chiefs team, as talented as Patrick Mahomes was, and as talented as Patrick Mahomes is, I should say, not was, because obviously he could play forever. I think what really elevated this team more than ever, because remember, in the early goings, Kansas City's offensive unit was kind of struggling. There was a little stretch of strugglement and everything. Travis Kelce wasn't the dominant tight end. They're trying to figure out the receivers because obviously when you lose Tyreek Hill, you lose a big chunk of your factor. Honestly, I think the savior for this season is Isaiah Pacheco, the running back. Clyde Edwards-Helaire looks like he's not going to get that starting job back. Not happening. Ronald Jones did not pan out. But this kid, who was a 7th rounder, look, 830 yards rushing, 5 touchdowns, 13 receptions, 130 yards. Now, to the average fan, to the casuals, that might not be impressive. But understand what his impact on the field did. Understand his impact in the playoffs. Understand last year when Kansas City couldn't beat the Chiefs, Kansas City couldn't beat the Bengals, they didn't have a running game. At least this time, if they were going to go down, at least they could say, well, we gave them our best shot at our running game with our best option. And kudos to him. That's, those are the stories I love. You're 7th rounder. Don't know if you're going to make the squad. Don't know if you're going to be there. You're being paid peanuts, especially for a position that gets hit the most.
Yep.
You were a pivotal factor of your team's success. If Isaiah Pacheco did not do what he did last year, Cincinnati's going back to the Super Bowl. That's not even out of the question. Cincinnati's going back to the Super Bowl. And then Travis Kelce, being Travis Kelce, 1,300 receiving yards, 12 touchdowns, the tight end position. Now he's a two-time Super Bowl champ. We're going to get closer and closer to a point where we're going to say that Travis Kelce is probably the best tight end the NFL has ever seen. I mean, another 1,000 yards receiving from a tight end. What is that? His 7th in a row, 8 in a row. The man's the man. There's nothing you can say. The man. You don't have to look far to say who's the number one tight. There's always debate on who's the best wide receiver, who's the best running back, who's the best quarterback, who's the best lineman, who's the best defensive player, who's the best corner, who's the best safety, all that stuff. You don't have to look far for who the best tight end in the league is. It's Travis Kelce. Everybody else can fight for second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh. Kelce's just going to stand alone here at number one until somebody wants to. You want to talk about Roman Reigns status? That's Travis Kelce, man. We all will acknowledge him as the best tight end in the NFL. Exactly, he is the one. Like, there is nothing else to it, dude. There's nothing else to it. And and I see it firsthand. The Chiefs always come here, and Travis Kelce's he's that dude. He's that dude, and you got to appreciate when he's still playing, because eventually time catches up, and then it's just like, man, I remember, he's still good, but I remember when he was like the most feared thing walking, and that sucks. And I hope that never happens to him. I hope he's able to walk away on his terms and not the NFL terms. But Brandon, give me your thoughts on this whole crazy offense that was the Kansas City Chiefs.
Well, I think Travis Kelce is the greatest tight end ever. Let's get out of the way. For what he does, I get it. You want to count rings. Rob Gronkowski's got what, like 4, something like that.
Yeah.
Shannon Sharp got 3. Travis now has 2. But for what Travis Kelce does for Kansas City, he's the best tight end I've ever seen.
You think if you were to go to Patrick Mahomes right now and be like, if you don't have Travis Kelce, do you think you win those Super Bowls?
Fuck no. I don't even think.
I think it's getting to the level of, if you ask John Elway today, it's like, hey, if Terrell Davis never panned out to be what he was,
and that's
do you think you guys would win those Super Bowls? Probably
and that's
not.
what I'm saying.
I would say no.
I need people to understand that. Like, when Shannon Sharp, not saying Shannon Sharp is like a trash tight end. He's one of the greatest to ever do it. But Shannon Sharp was never like Travis Kelce. Like, if Kansas City doesn't have Travis Kelce on the field, they're going to lose. We know it.
And that's with Patrick Mahomes, by the way.
With Patrick Mahomes. Healthy. As a horse. Just healthy as shit. They're going to lose. With John Elway, we literally have said this. He had Shannon Sharp for most of those times. He could never win a fucking Super Bowl. He gets Terrell Davis, different conversation. Even look at Baltimore when they won that Super Bowl. Was Shannon Sharp really that big of an impactful player? Because let's be real.
I think he was what the team needed. He was the veteran voice of the offense, which is what there was no reason for the Ravens to bring on Rod Woodson only to be the voice of the defense. That was it.
But let's be real. That 2000 Ravens defense, could anybody score?
No.
I'm pretty sure nobody did.
No.
So what the hell? So to me, the only question
like
is
this.
Rob
Like
Gronkowski.
We played those 2000 Ravens in that AFC Championship game. We had Jerry Rice, Tim Brown, Joey Porter, Rick Dudley, the best offensive line in the unit, and Rich Gannon with Charlie Gardner and Tyrone Wheatley. We only scored a measly 9 fucking points. 9. When we were averaging 27 per game. We got killed in that AFC Championship game.
I think the question really isn't, is Travis Kelce one of the greatest tight ends? I really think the conversation really is he one of the greatest offensive weapons ever?
He's getting there, and I think
Because
he's already in that door.
be,
I think
because
he's already inside that building.
like we're not talking about quarterbacks because that's a different conversation. But I'm talking about offensive weapons. Jerry Rice, Emmitt Smith, Michael Irvin. Is Travis Kelce not in that conversation? Because let's be real, we know damn well if Kansas City does not have this man on the field, they're going to probably lose. That's why they could trade a Tyreek Hill and still find a way to win.
You can't give up a Kelce. No.
You can't give up Kelce. Like that is a difference. I've never seen Travis Kelce to the point where he's been out for games. That's another thing. He is one of the most healthiest fucking players who we all know is going to get the fucking ball. I've never seen a team know what a ball particularly is going to go on a 4th down and 1. We know he's getting the ball. You can't do shit to stop it.
Well, I mean, last year Buffalo didn't. They had 13 seconds to figure that out, and they didn't know apparently.
It's just it's ridiculous. Like I remember the debate. Remember the debate a couple years ago? Is it Travis Kelce or George Kittle? That debate has completely blown the fuck up. That debate ended right at that Super Bowl. Like that shit was over and done.
It's over now. It's Travis Kelce, and then it's everybody else.
It's over, and that's what I'm
saying. Don't
get
me wrong. George Kittle can be number 2. George Kittle could be number 3, but he'll
if he's
never.
Healthy. If he's healthy, and that's the thing. Like for a position that they play, and the way that they're used, I haven't seen Travis Kelce miss a key game.
No.
I haven't seen it. George Kittle's missed a bunch. I've never seen Travis Kelce miss a key game like that. That shit is crazy. The Chargers hate that dude. I know the Chargers hate him from the bottoms of their souls because every time they about to beat the Kansas City Chiefs, Travis Kelce just caught the ball 26 yards down the field. He's touchdown. What the fuck? Like all you hear is just like, what the fuck? Like it's just the Chargers must hate that dude. Like it's just that is the thing. I think Travis Kelce is one of the best weapons I've ever seen on offense.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, that's not
because you game plan for Patrick Mahomes. That's obvious, but I've never seen a defense literally say, if we don't stop the fucking tight end, we're clearly gonna lose.
It's getting to a point, and I think it's one of those things where I'm sure they game plan, but they only say, hey, do what you can because. You can only hope. You can't stop them. You can only hope to contain them. That's pretty much what it is. That's pretty much what it is.
I think people need to understand. Like even when Rob Gronkowski was having his years, he still had a Julian Edelman.
Yeah,
like he always had a number. He had somebody. Travis Kelce this year proved with no Tyreek Hill, they had to trade and get Kadarius Toney just to get some speed on the field.
Yeah.
And he still fucking played better than everybody on the field. How is that possible? I thought he should have been MVP of the Super Bowl, by the way. I was like, if this dude is not the MVP of the Super Bowl, I get it. Patrick Mahomes got to throw him the ball. But his first half, he kept him in the game.
He did. Yeah, no, he really did. Travis Kelce, I think, had one, a performance of a savorance of a performance, like you mentioned, in that Super Bowl. Had the Eagles contained him,
That's another thing. Like, let's be real. We kept saying the Eagles defense is so great. That secondary looked fucking oblivious. They didn't know what the fuck to do. They looked like, how do we stop him? Who is going to stop him? They literally tried everyone, and they could not stop him. It was like, dude, what is this? What is this? It was mind-boggling to see that.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, I'm just saying, for me, I think when it comes to Travis Kelce, is he one of the better weapons in NFL history? 100%. I don't think there's even a debate on that. Now, on the flip side of things, I don't think the Kansas City Chiefs defense is bad. I just think what they do sometimes is they do leave it up to chance. And look, sometimes that's good, sometimes that's bad, but sometimes I do think they leave it up to chance. Just a little too much, And they have some great players defensively. They have some really great players defensively. Nick Bolton, damn near 200 tackles. He finished the year with 180. None of those were for losses. 2 sacks, 2 interceptions. I mean, he's coming in his own. He's coming into his own. I don't have to tell you about Chris Jones. Chris Jones is Chris Jones. 15 and a half sacks, and that's great for him. It looked like finally he looked comfortable playing again. Like finally he looks comfortable playing again. And then L'Jarius Sneed and Juan Thornhill, 3 interception each. So it's not that the Chiefs defense is bad. I just think what it is, collectively, they have good individual pieces. They just don't have the unit. You know what I'm saying?
I tell people what this is. They have Steve Spagnuolo as the defensive coordinator. Steve Spagnuolo is literally bend but don't break. That's literally his defense.
Yeah, I mean that's always been his motto.
That's his fucking motto. Like
the Giants defense when they won the Super Bowls, it's like
Saints defense. We had them. Like it's literally bend but don't fucking break. That is literally his fucking platform. That is it. That's it. When he's had great players, they held the fucking Patriots to 14 points in the Super Bowl. Like that is what he does.
Yeah.
But when he doesn't have great players, he does what he needs to do to get that defense by. And I think that's the thing about Kansas City. I don't know what Kansas City's defense is without Chris Jones, though.
It would be terrible. That's what it would be.
And that's the thing. Like, I think as long as you got Chris Jones in the middle, you're good. If you lose him at any point, good fucking luck.
Yeah, no, and I think that's the crazy thing about it is because like I said, they have good individual pieces.
Yeah.
Last year the rookie Trent McDuffie, he was hurt, but when he came into the role, looked fine. Chris Jones, I don't have to tell you about Chris Jones. Chris Jones can tell you about himself. He's good. Nick Bolton, good linebacker. L'Jarius Sneed, good corner. Justin Reed's good,
like he all right, I guess.
Like he's good. Like he ain't no scrub.
He's all right, I guess.
But he's pretty good. All right.
I mean, he's in the NFL for a reason. He's in the NFL for a reason.
But like I said, I think as a unit, I think that's what we should be grateful about is that the Kansas City Chiefs defense doesn't have a great unit. They just got good individual pieces and a bunch of good, solid role players to know their spots.
Yeah. I like Kansas City's defense enough. And that's exactly
what I'm saying. I think sometimes they do leave it up to chance. Like you said, bend but don't break. But sometimes that could be left up to chance too. And that's the game you don't want to get into.
I would say this. I was extremely surprised at how that secondary held up against Cincinnati.
They did great. That AFC Championship game, they did great. Now, I'm not going to lie. Like you said, bend but don't break because in the third quarter, oh shit. Oh shit.
They broke. Broke like a fucking dam.
Oh no. Like, wait a minute, guys, you guys were doing good. What's going on?
What the fuck happened? What happened? Like,
whoa, wait a minute. Wait.
I know Joe Cool really came through, huh? Okay. It's just
no, but I like what Kansas City's doing, and I know it's going to be a different dynamic next year. I think we've talked about this. It's does losing Eric Bieniemy hurt the dynamic of this team? Maybe. Maybe.
You said maybe.
I don't know because I have to see how it plays out. I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt that I think Andy Reid, Coach Nagy, they're going to regroup. They're going to find they're going to do it. But it's just, does the dynamic of losing Eric Bieniemy hurt this team? Maybe. I don't know.
I've waited this long to say this. I think Kansas City is going to be bad this year.
What do you mean by bad, though? Like they don't make the playoffs bad?
I think they make the playoffs. Oh, shit. Here. Okay. I think they don't repeat. Let's put it like that. I don't think they're going to repeat.
Okay, but I mean, when's the last time somebody's actually repeated?
That's a good point. But when I say
Oh,
don't
like
repeat,
this, do you think they can get double-digit wins?
oh shit, barely. Yeah.
Do you think they could get? Do you think they can get back to 14?
Here's the thing. I think the AFC West is going to be what they were supposed to be last year. I think Denver's going to be great. I think Denver's going to be better. I think the Raiders are going to surprise some people. I think the Chargers may stay steady enough to at least compete.
So you're saying that this year the division should have been what it was last
year. And I think that's what's going to happen. But on top of that, I do think Kansas City is going to feel the effects of Eric Bieniemy being out and being gone. I do think that because we got to realize, I think a lot of people forget, Andy Reid has been battling health concerns for like the last couple of years.
Yeah, I know.
So Eric Bieniemy has kind of kept them from really falling down
into that trap.
I think people don't understand also, Matt Nagy has never coached Patrick Mahomes. Never coached him. Just because he was a part of the staff when Kansas City first started, people forget Matt Nagy was the head coach of Chicago when they drafted Mitch Trubisky. In that draft, who got drafted? Patrick Mahomes. So he never touched Patrick Mahomes. He never seen how he could play. A lot of things that people don't want to also admit is Patrick Mahomes is reckless with the football. You said it. He's got a lot of Josh Allen in him. The thing is, he kind of knows how to tone it back. I don't think he tones it back this year. That is why I feel like he's gonna have a bad year. Because we act like this shit is like, we act like all of the things Eric Bieniemy doesn't cover up for him is not going to be there. Like, that is a massive fucking loss. People do think, I don't think people really understand. And this is why I keep saying, Andy Reid calls the plays, but we don't see really what the fuck Eric Bieniemy does for Patrick Mahomes. And that's why I think it gets a little bit bad. Because I don't think Patrick Mahomes has that MVP caliber year this year. I think it gets bad. I think it gets really bad.
I can admit that. I can admit that the Broncos did get better defensively. I can admit that the Chargers are steady enough.
The AFC in total
in general did get better. Yes, the AFC in general did get better.
Outside of Houston, outside of Houston, everybody's kind of okay. Outside of Houston, everybody's got their quarterback. It's clearly Houston doesn't know how to draft that. So they're like,
Wow. I can see where you're going with it, that everything, every team did get better and everything, and it's just I just have to see how it looks. I have to see, and one game's not going to determine the factor of this. I have to see, and then eventually by week 6, week 7, it's like, okay, so they're keeping on track what they did last year, or oh man, this is not looking too hot right now.
And like I said, I don't know how long Andy Reid's going to be doing this. That plays a factor.
He's back.
That plays a factor.
I honestly thought when that rumor came out that should he win, he was going to retire. I am actually surprised that he's back, because I can understand why he wants to come back, but I am a little concerned about it and his health. I get it. I get it. We're all concerned.
I think people don't they're not taking into the considerate factors. I get it. It's Patrick Mahomes, it's Travis Kelce, it's Kansas City. You don't bet against it. But me looking at it from the outside, they're repeating champions. The teams in that division actually got better, not worse. A lot of the situations in the AFC outside of maybe the Ravens, who's a contender, isn't as bad as everybody want to make it seem. And Cincinnati probably had one of the best free agencies we've seen in a minute, who, by the way, took your weapon, your offensive lineman, and brought him to Cincinnati. So it's just like, I don't know, man. I just feel like this season is going to be the season I expected last year for the Kansas City Chiefs. It just doesn't seem like, a lot of people, I get it, it's Kansas City, But people need to understand, Patrick Mahomes did start throwing picks a lot last year. That shit
was uncharacteristic of him.
Very uncharacteristic. And
was,
now the person that kind of
it
can
was
will him back is
uncharacteristic, of
gone.
course.
I think people don't understand. Like just like Brian Dable for Josh Allen, Eric Bieniemy is the same thing for Patrick Mahomes. And I think you're gonna see that in the first couple of weeks. You're gonna say, "Oh shit, okay, is he really missing Eric Bieniemy?" Because I don't think Matt Nagy is an offensive mind like everybody continues to try to make him be. I don't think that's it. I've seen him in Chicago. He could barely coach Metro Trubisky. I'm good on it. I've seen enough of that shit. I'm good on it. I don't need to see it. If they run the ball, that's the only way Kansas City makes it to 10 wins.
And honestly, I think that's where Isaiah Pacheco has to be ready for that workload. I think he has to be ready, and I think he is up to the challenge of that.
I think he is too, but I think also they will get to the point where they're gonna get cocky, and it's Patrick Mahomes' team or nothing, and that's gonna fuck them. I think that is why I feel like that is where I think Kansas City really is gonna hurt themselves, because I think they're gonna go Patrick Mahomes or nothing, which is gonna erase the running game immediately, and that is where you get screwed.
Well, it is going to be interesting. I will say that. I think it is going to be interesting. Now, as far as the free agency for Kansas City, nothing too crazy, but hey, when you're the Super Bowl champs, what do you really need? You know, Justin Watson, you re-signed him. Nick Allegretti, you got him back. Deion Bush, that's great. Derek Nandi, who's been with the team for a while. And Blake Bell, who's been the understudy to Travis Kelce, who's actually a serviceable backup tight end. It's okay. Now you bring in Charles Omenihu. You steal Drew Tranquil from the Chargers, who was a Pro Bowler. You steal him. Mike Edwards. You get another wide receiver from the. How funny is it? You get another wide receiver from the best wide receiver from the Giants, and that is Richie James. Brian Colward, the defensive tackle. Blaine Gabbert is now going to be the backup to Patrick Mahomes after he was the backup to Tom Brady. And honestly, their best prize was Jawan Taylor, the offensive lineman out of Jacksonville. That was their best prize. Overall, where I'm sitting at, it's a C. It's a straight C. You know, see, when you got a player like Patrick Mahomes, when you got a head coach like Andy Reid, everything's going to work out. Everything's going to be fine because you're still young. You're still exuberant, if that's a word. You're still young. You're still exciting. It's going to be fine. You know, Now, it might bite you in the ass come playoff time if you don't have the depth. Then it might bite you in the ass. But for right now, they're the champs. Let's give them their flowers for what they're due. And it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Go ahead, Brad.
Yeah, I give it a C too. I mean, not wow names. I mean, like you said, Jawan Taylor might be the best fucking pickup, and that's about it. Like, that might be fucking it. Like, it's just, listen, I like the Drew Tranquil pickup.
I do too. But it's like
you take it from the Chargers, which is a massive takeaway. But on top of that, I just feel like the receiving core that you have is not good, man. I'm sorry.
Well,
that shit ain't gonna happen twice. Like, let's be real. It's not gonna happen twice.
Okay. Let's be real. Justin Watson, Richie James, Sky Moore, not really names that nobody really like. But I think we're forgetting one piece here. that nobody really wants to talk about. Did we just forget the fact that they got Justin Ross on an undrafted free agent contract? The wide receiver from Clemson. You know, I'm not going to lie to you. If he's healthy, then honestly, I can see Justin Ross being a serviceable weapon for the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, he doesn't have the speed of Tyreek Taylor or Tyreek Hill, but, you know, we all know him from Clemson, and he's a serviceable weapon. I'm not saying he's T. Higgins. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying he's a serviceable weapon. That's all.
Like I said about a lot of these teams, I got to see the team. That's it. I just got to see the team.
I mean, I got to see this too. I got to see it too.
Team. I'm shocked they didn't really go get like a backup running back, which is kind of weird.
It's a little funky, but I think they're in a position to where they can do what they want to do. They can get one later. And there's still free agents out there. I'm gonna be honest with you. I would not doubt it that Ezekiel Elliott will be a Kansas City Chiefs by the end of the draft. I'm gonna be honest with you.
And I would be completely shocked if he was.
I can see it happening. He
I
was
mean,
coming on a veteran deal.
Because it gets to the point is like the only reason why you're bringing him in is literally to be
The backup.
blocking running back.
The backup. Exactly.
Like you're not really bringing him in to do anything exciting. Like, yeah, I guess. I personally would have probably go give Rashad Penny, but Eagles took that away. So, do you think?
Do you boo? Do you
do you boo?
Like, it is what it is, But no, I'm gonna be honest with you. I like this team. I like the direction that it's going. I'm gonna have to see how this works out because yes, we're gonna go to another year of oh my god, this wide receiver room. Let's give them the benefit of doubt this year because they figured it out last year. Let's see what they can do this year. So there it is. There it is. But all right, Brandon, it's that time, man. Here we go. The last pick. Everybody's drunk. Everybody doesn't remember. But here we are. It's Thursday night. Next Thursday, this Thursday night around maybe a little bit an hour from now, around this time.
Yeah.
Roger Goodell's going to get up there one more time. One more. What name is he going to read on that card?
All right. To close out the first night of the 2023 NFL Draft, the draft home Kansas City Chiefs, because they're in the Kansas City this year, so do you think? Kansas City Chiefs, the defending Super Bowl champions, the 31st pick in the 2023 NFL Draft will select Jalin Hyatt, wide receiver, Tennessee. I don't trust the receiving core of the Kansas City Chiefs. I know my brother Juan probably trusts him a little bit more than I do. I don't trust them sons of bitches at all. Listen, Sky Moore could be very special. Probably will be. Richard James, congratulations. You're going to Kansas City Chiefs. It's literally that has got to be like the greatest Christmas present of all time. You went from Daniel Jones to Patrick fucking Mahomes.
You went from a Winnebago to a Lamborghini, bro.
How you the fuck?
You went from the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile to a Lamborghini. That's awesome, bro.
You went from like the Scooby-Doo van to fucking Maybach. Like it's a different type of situation. Like, it's a completely different situation. But listen, yeah, that's awesome. You got him. You still got Marcus Valdes-Scantling. Shit, that sounds so bad. You still got it. Shit sounded so bad. Listen, but my thing is this: it all hinders really Uncle Davius Toney, because that's really the goddamn weapon. Let's be real. Like, that's the weapon. And I just think Jalin Hyatt is a little bit better. I just feel like everything you said he was when you picked him is exactly the reason why I think he ends up in Kansas City. Because you just got rid of Tyreek Hill. I'm not saying he's Tyreek Hill, but he got speed. He's got the ability to catch at any position. You saw him with Tennessee last year in that offense, particularly when Hayden Hooker would move out the pocket. You saw what he can do with in those situations with a Hayden Hooker. Imagine him and Patrick Mahomes. That shit sounds scary. Like that already sounds scary. Like I don't want to see them against the Raiders, but shit happens.
It does. Yeah, it does.
Shit happens. But I think Jalin Hyatt will fit this offense. I think he would. I think Sky Moore, I gotta still see how you look. You could be just Mecole Hardman, just this new era, Mecole Hardman, where you drafted this dude, he never panned the fuck out. Like it could actually be that way. Like it could actually end up that way. I just feel like if you're gonna pick somebody, you gotta go receiver. Jalin Hyatt. Now I get it, offensive line, defensive line. I can help them there. maybe even in a secondary. But for me personally, I just feel like you gotta get a receiver. Travis Kelce can't do every fucking thing.
Yeah, no, I get it. And that's a great pick. Look, I wanted to give him wide receiver here too, but as I started looking around, I'm like, oh, I kind of can't because I can, but then it would be too much of a reach. And I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. You don't want to reach if you're a Super Bowl champion because even though you might have won the Super Bowl, you don't want to reach still. You still want a serviceable player. Now, I thought about defensive linemen because especially with the whole how Frank Clark's going, there's really nothing else on the defensive line. But then I looked and I'm like, yo, that secondary needs help. I'm sorry. That right now, as bad as you might think the wide receiver room is, that secondary room is just as worse off than it was literally 2 months, 3 months ago. Like it is wretched. It is bad. And I'm looking and I'm like, well, shit. I don't want to give them just a secondary player. I want to give them a true DB. I started looking and I'm like, well, I can't give him this dude because he's gone. I can't give him this dude because he's gone. I can't give him this dude because they already got that. But then as I kept looking, I realized, oh my God, wait a minute. I know a guy who can play outside, play inside, could play nickel, can play slot, and he could play a little bit of safety too. I'm never a fan of double dipping of schools, but I think in Kansas City's choice, if they have the chance, they better do it now because this is the same thing I said last year. Until you figure it out, you keep this guy, you play him everywhere until you figure out what fits him, what is going to be his best fit in the NFL. So, with the 31st pick in the draft, I am going to select Jartavius Quan Martin, defensive back, Illinois. That's right. I'm going back to Illinois. Same thing I said about Devin Witherspoon all those picks ago. I'm going to say the same thing about this too. Illinois is becoming a defensive back school built on toughness. This man loves to hit. He's 6 foot, 195 pounds. I know that doesn't scare you, frame rise. But this man loves to hit. 64 tackles, 3 interceptions, 1 sack, 2 forced fumbles. He could play inside. He could play outside corner. He could play nickel. He could play slot. He could play safety. He could do it all. He could stop. He can help you in run game. This dude can do it all. He was built on toughness. He was built on this. That whole Illinois secondary was built on toughness. All right, like I dare you to find me a secondary unit tougher than these guys. All right, these guys were built on toughness. Look, that safety group for Kansas City, it's not looking too good. Now that Juan Thornhill's gone, you're not really sure if Justin Reed still has it. You really didn't do anything to address it. You might want to take a look at it. And then on the outside corners, you're really going to roll with the Jerry Sneed again? Now, Trent McDuffie, I can deal with. That's fine. Because he was good. But L'Jarius Sneed, you really want to do this again? Like, you really want this, man? I know he led the team in interceptions, but that was from the slot, baby. Like, all I'm saying is I think for this team in general, I think they need to fix that secondary. You know, I think the Kansas City Chiefs put themselves in a position where they have to work backwards. You build your secondary and then you get the pass rush. You know, like I think they built it backwards, but they can afford the time because they have such an electric offense. They could build the time. That's fine. But I just think they need a tool. They need money for when you're picking here, you need bang for your buck. That's what you need. You need a bang for your buck. Why not get you a guy who can play multiple positions in the secondary that you desperately need help with, and until you figure it out and you find his fit, it works out. So that's why I'm going to go with Jartavius Quan Martin, the defensive back out of Illinois.
Don't disagree. Champaign, Illinois, where the fighting line are Illinois. That secondary is different. Secondary is
Yeah,
different.
they hurt, man. They hurt.
They're a little different. They're a little different than a lot of people want to admit. They're a little different. I get it. I don't think people understand that Illinois built a really good defense. Like secondary wise, them dudes love when you come across the middle, so they can knock your damn head off. They love that shit fully. And they can play man, which is a very interesting thing. They can be just as aggressive as you need them to be in a position. And I think a lot of people, if he ends up in Kansas City, yeah, that's a hell of a place to end up because, like you just said, Kansas City needs a lot of goddamn help. I don't think
this could be their Drex Hill to what Cincinnati drafted last year.
I think people don't understand. This is why I say Kansas City. Kansas City is one of them teams you gotta just be like, we gotta see how it look because this, like we said, what is the Kansas City defense mantra? Bend but don't break. Well, there's gonna be a lot of breaking if they don't get somebody in that secondary.
There's really not a lot of confidence there, and I think this guy coming in, it would bring the toughness and it would bring the confidence in that secondary that they need. Because sometimes that's what you need. You need confidence to play those positions. And I have no doubt in my mind, if him and Devin Witherspoon can change a fucking school on the outlook of their school in one fucking year, I have no doubt in my mind that this dude can come into Kansas City and be a leader of this defense really, really soon.
Disagreement, man.
So, I mean, I get it too. I understand if Jalen Hyatt's there, hey, when are you ever going to get a chance to draft a Fred Biletnikoff Award winner? Yeah, go ahead, man. Go ahead, bro. I mean, go ahead, man. I ain't mad at you. Like, I ain't mad at you. It's just, the thing is for me, he's already been gone. So, yeah, he's already been gone. So, I was thinking about giving them, Josh Downs, the wide receiver out of North Carolina. I was thinking of giving them a homeboy from Houston, Nathaniel Dell. But then I'm like, maybe, just maybe that's a little too early. Just a little too early. Not saying that they don't deserve it, but like I said, for me, I know if I was a general manager, I need a bang for my buck at this pick. So I'm going to go with the guy that could play multiple positions. It's all about, at that point, when you're pick number 1, it's all about, I need you to change this fucking position really fucking quick. When you're like in the later rounds, it's like, hey, man, I just need you to be versatile and be ready to go wherever I fucking put you. And I think this is where it comes down to. I think this is what it comes down to for Kansas City. It's all about versatility at this pick. So Brandon went with Jalen Hyatt. I went with Jartavius Martin, the defensive back out of Illinois. So that is it. That is how we're going to end round 1. We're done. We're done. That's it. Pop the champagne. It's over for the individual picks. We will be back Sunday. For our Super Mock Draft Show. 1 through 31. A bunch of people will be joining us, making their selections, helping us out through this process. I will explain the rules on Sunday. It's going to be awesome. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So please tell your friends, tell your family. It's going to be fun. Brandon, again, I cannot thank you enough for joining me again on this year. We're done, buddy. We're done, man. No more notes. No more nothing. Now we enjoy our Saturday watching this boxing fight. We'll be back Sunday, and then that's it, man. That's it. Our ride is over, man. Our ride is over. But until then, Brandon, thank you so much for joining me again. Everybody that has supported us throughout this whole process, thank you so much. Your support means everything, man. Like I said, we'll be back Sunday. So please tune in, hit that little notification bell when we get this party started. Until then, this has been Brandon. I've been your good old boy, JR. We will see you. Peace.